We are live, Pierre.
Oh, ho, ho, ho! Welcome back to the early edition of the Hockey Nation Live Show. This is your coach, Coach Frenchy, directly from the Sunshine State in Florida. And we have to go all the way, maybe New York, Texas, Mexico, and West Coast to come back to New York. The co-host also, Michael DeVillano.
Good morning, Pierre. Yes, I'm in New York still. I'll be flying out tonight back to California.
Here we go. Yep.
So we had a crazy weekend. You spent a lot of time recapping the draft. You've had a little bit of time to reflect. Before we talk about free agency, who were your big winners and losers in this draft?
Yes, friend team, of course. I think Columbus, Carolina, they are really the one step up more with their. And not only for me, it's not only the pick, but also the trade and the movement, everything like that. Then I have to go with Detroit and also Minnesota, where they are not the winner, but really close to winner. I think Minnesota did a good job overall. So that's really the one I believe they make a difference on the weekend.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of those. I think the one team that we don't mention a lot, and I think did a great job, was Winnipeg. And Winnipeg got a couple of, I think, they didn't have very many draft picks, first of all. They only had 4 picks in the entire draft. Their first pick, they pick up Chaz Lucius at number 18. I personally think he's a top 10 pick. For me, this kid turned out to be a Kyle Connor 2.0. He's got all the same attributes of Kyle. He's just a little bit shorter, but not much. So that I like. And then the second pick they had was Chibrikov. And I think a lot of people thought he would be in the first round. And he's another skilled player. So they, even though they only had very few picks, I think they might come out of this ahead. So that I think kudos to their general manager, Shaveldayoff, who I think did a real good job. I don't know the other 2 players. One was the Belarusian and one was another Russian. But
the reason is really what they said about Chaz now is skating. He has a really, from what they learned from the deeper, you have a good guy talk about all those prospects on the NHL.
Yeah.
And his stride with the line between the hip, knees, and feet are not aligned at all. So that's get him as the reason why he don't have that kind of speed or power. And that's the reason why he believed really where the scout put him more at the bottom of the around 20, not the 10 or 12 or 8 or 9. But that's not, like he said, he's really good on skill, on talent, and very good on the stick angling, where because he's not great on skating, he uses his hands and the protection of the puck to get better. So
and
it'd be really interesting about that. We have only 4 picks on that one over there, but to get him at 18, I think he was,
I think he's still a top 10 pick, personally. I mean, I've seen all these guys play, and for me, it's about separation. And he's a guy that finds space all over the ice, and he's able to separate from defenders. And I think technically you might not like the way he skates, but I don't think he's a bad skater from what I've seen. Explosiveness is important, so that might be valid, and maybe that kind of limits him. I guess time will tell, right? The other team that I thought did pretty well that we haven't talked about was, I was going to say, let me look at the team again, make sure I agree with it still. I mean, overall, you've got to like what New Jersey did. They obviously had a very high pick, but I like that they didn't pass over Luke Hughes just, to be difficult. The Chase Stillman one, I think they jumped up to grab him. So that might be underrated, but absolutely, I think that Detroit addressed all their needs. And the big one that was kind of concerning, which I think they got a good pick, but again, missing out on Wallstead to me really left a question in my mind around Edmonton. So I don't know what to say about that still.
Well, from people, Casa is the best goaltender in the draft.
Yeah.
And then after that is Wallstead. So
for sure.
To jump at 15, they tried to get, I think they did well on that one over there for sure.
I totally agree with that. All right, we had some people have joined us. Bud the Monkey, good morning. Kimberly, good morning, everyone. Our friend Adam is here. Adam says it looks like Fleury or Leonard are on their way out of Vegas. Elliot Friedman reports that one of them was almost traded on Saturday to New Jersey. I'm going to predict that one of them is gone this week. So if you're betting man, do you think this is Fleury?
But so from that news about that, from what he said is Fleury, not Fleury, but not only New Jersey is involved now. Chicago could be involved with that one also. But one of the two is going there, and the reason they try to get there's two things they can go. They have to resign Martinez. That'll give them a little bit more money to do that. The second thing, I think they're looking a center at that moment to fill that spot where they need number one, or classify number two, whatever you want it. So that's what they're looking a little bit more for the money. Now, 37 years old or 35, 36, I don't know exactly Fleury is right now, but so at that moment at 7.5, I think for the benefit of long term, they'll be better to go that one there. Now, I would not be surprised if he did make a trade with New Jersey, maybe to get the backup goalie with there or something like that, a minor goaltender, everything like that. They have three goaltender over there, and then at Chicago, that's maybe something Chicago they need, because you can see Chicago is great right now. The change, like they trade for Zed Jones. Now they know the captain's coming back. And they know they're missing one other defenseman, and they're missing a goaltender. Lankinen cannot carry on the team over there. So that's what be about that one over there. The boat and Vegas, the problem, it's not a problem, it's a great problem. Both can be a goaltender number one right now. And they can use that money to improve the team. So I'm not surprised for what Elliot Friedman said. Again, it's going to be a team where they're looking for the goaltender for sure. Now,
that makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah. I mean, to me, it's logical it would be Fleury. We know Leonard's had a little bit of injury problems, but if you assume that he's okay and you can get a decent backup, then that's the move to make. Bud the Monkey asks, what are your thoughts on the Reinhart trade? My thoughts, honestly, Bud, is they didn't get enough. Like, I think Florida robbed Buffalo. They give up a pick. It's lottery protected. This is a guy that was like a second overall draft pick. He's panned out. He had a great year, 25 goals in 54 games. They let him play center, and he showed he can play center. I mean, he's 25. He's at the peak of his career. To get what they got, I think Kevin Adams kind of missed it here. They basically take an impactful roster player that was probably their best player down the stretch, and they got nothing that's going to provide that same impact back.
I absolutely agree with you about that one. It's completely again. I have a difficult time with general manager action or what they do. Sometimes I don't, I don't get it. Listen, we talk about a players score 25, 22, 22, 25. Talk about a scorers have 50, 65, 50 and 69, and 40 and 54. So it's an average of 60 point minimum with a great 23, 24 goal per year. Score 10 goals this year in power play. So to get only a 7th-round pick, Levi, and also get a 1st-round pick, that's not make sense at all. That's completely
makes no sense.
You want to fire a coach? No, fire the UGM right now, because this is really not right.
Yeah, it just seems like a huge loss of a major asset that are really hard to come by. Like, in order to get that asset in the first place, they had to finish last, pretty much. It's those guys don't come along very often. It's not like there's any free agents that are going to be beating down the door to go to Buffalo.
No, it's two things with that. What is missing on that trade is a prospect with the trade.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what is missing. Honestly, I think Levi, we don't know. We know what Levi did. I know he have maybe some potential to be an NHL for sure.
But right? Maybe, right? Like, not for sure. He's smaller. He was drafted late. Sorry to cut you off, Pierre. He was
You know,
drafted later. Like, I just don't get it. Like, it's just weird. Like,
my second problem is this part. Now they trade the what first round pick 22, I believe.
yeah, and it's lottery protected.
So right now, if you think about Florida Panthers, Michael, I would not be surprised they finished the best top 10 in NHL next
Exactly.
season. So we talk about a trade is going to be between 20 to 32 worst case, right?
Yeah.
So you're not getting the top 10, you're getting the worst. So at that first round pick. So that's another jab. What you have to say, wait a minute, I need at least a prospect about that, or I'm not trading him at all. And I think for me, that's not right.
Big mistake.
It's not completely Panthers again. Bill Zito, we have to give him credit for plug that out because the impact of Sam Reinhart and that team would be major compared to Sam Bennett.
I think you're right. I mean, he's always shown he's a much better offensive player than Sam Bennett. If Sam Bennett,
of course,
right,
definitely, it's not. I'll be honest with you, Michael. On statistically, it's not compared. You cannot compare both of them.
It's crazy, Pierre. So
you
yeah,
about that one over there. So
that's kind of my feedback on the trade. Good morning to William, who just got back from hockey. Johnny Golden, thank you so much for joining us. Our friend Oleg is here, Pierre.
Oh, from Risha.
The Pagula should hire me as the GM. Yeah. I don't know. We haven't talked very often. So when did the GMs have their meeting again? They already had it last week, didn't they?
They got a meeting 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And our press conference. Usually they don't meet now until the middle of the second month off. So usually November.
So crazy. Adam says, my name is Mike Smith. I will be a goalie with Edmonton when I'm 60. It's funny you said that, Adam, because I was sharing with Pierre that my friend who's an NHL executive sent me a note saying, yeah, they're going to have him until he's 60.
Yeah. You know, again, I expect two things might happen. You're going to see that. I would not be surprised they buy out Koskinen today. And I'm not be surprised they get a goaltender already plan B set up for tomorrow, for Wednesday. So they signed him for 2 years. I had no problem. He deserved it. He have an amazing, great, maybe one of his best year last season, right?
He's still a capable goalie, but.
And at $2.2 million, it's not a problem if you are goaltender number 2. I'll be honest with you. If he's my goaltender number 2, I feel great as a manager.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But now it's to be sure I'm getting a goaltender number 1. So before I, talk again like Ken Olin about on that one, I have to wait until Thursday or Friday to see what Edmonton does.
Adam asks, is it true that Montreal is talking with Savard and Eichel?
Yes. So it was funny because yesterday I said to the show, don't be surprised Max Stahl is going to go to Montreal with his brother Eric, and boom, 30 minutes after that, he was signed with Detroit.
Yeah.
So the rumor is David Savard is really plugged with the Montreal Canadiens at that moment. So would not be surprised Savard signed with it. The Jack Eichel is getting worse. Not worse, is getting cold now. It was a little bit hot during the weekend, but now for what I heard this morning, is getting cold. The price is still high, and Montreal cannot give a Kotkaniemi with a 2nd pick, another prospect for the risk of the injury, Jack Eichel, everything like that. And I think you have some other characters. Now I'm going to mention something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if Rand Getzlaf signed with the Montreal Canadiens.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Like $1 million or $1.5 million or something?
Yeah. He got to go now. He's Anaheim did not want him to come back now. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's time to move on from him, obviously, in Anaheim, and I think that's probably the right thing for them. But he could probably still be useful somewhere kind of in a Joe Thornton, Eric Stahl type of way.
For me, it's a Corey Perry.
Maybe.
I feel it had that kind of impact. And that will, again, honestly, Eric Stahl is almost the same kind of player like Rand Getzlaf about the physicality, like 6'4", 6'3", 6'4", 6, those big guys, right? So to not resign Eric Stahl and bring Ryan Getzlaf. I think that would be good to go that line. That's what my point is. I don't expect to be Ryan Getzlaf at 28 or expect like 60 points. But for what he bring around to be back with Perry, I think that what I heard a lot this weekend, and a lot of things talk, it's about the locker room, Michael. Like we don't talk enough about the inside the locker room, how the players feel, if done that. And the reason I said that is the reason why the Flyers trade this weekend. The Flyers realized during the last couple of weeks, I got this from Michel Terrien, I believe, but the point is it was bad, but they don't have that kind of the belief or pushing. And when you are together for years after years, year after year, you need new blood and new change. And that's the reason they let go Voracek. That's the reason they changed a couple. Not the culture, but the way inside the locker room. So I think Ryan Ellis can bring this. I think Ristolainen, because people are hard, Michael, against Ristolainen, and maybe I am too, but at the end of the day, Michael, Eric Stahl have minus 22 with Buffalo. Ristolainen is minus 18. You know what I mean? Like, when you play with a bad team, Michael, I don't expect your stat or your analytic or your data is going to be great.
True.
So, you know what I mean? Like, Michael is an 8 years minus 163.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, you cannot blame only him about that. So I think that's what I pick it up about that one. You talk about the trade earlier. I think Philadelphia, Columbus make a mistake with Atkinson against Voracek. I know I'm out of subject, but I think it's Columbus should Flyers, Columbus should have more, only 1-1 on that one.
Like, Atkinson is really high in offensive talent, but he's not young. He's over 30 now. He's like 31, gonna be 32, I think.
Both of the same age, yeah.
Yeah, they're like a year apart, I think, maybe, or same birth year. So I don't, I think people don't understand how good Cam Atkinson is. However, he is, at the tail end of that. What they give up is a goal scorer that was going to move out. I was a little surprised at who they brought back.
So it's two different players, right? One on the offensive side, Voracek, and Atkinson is more on the defensive side. Play a lot, Michael, on PK.
Atkinson's like a 30 goal scorer.
I'm sorry?
Atkinson's like a 25, 30 goal scorer.
Atkinson?
Yeah. He's a sniper. He just had a bad year, but if you look at his history, like, he's a very dangerous offensive player. But I think
don't have, like, you know what I mean, like, he scored 1 year 41, like earlier he have like 2 seasons 35, 41, right? Well, the last 2 years he's about 20.
He's
it's really more like talk about compare Voracek and him. More Voracek is more on the offensive side, but what he bring the Atkinson is a two-way players, like up and down. His speed. He play one of the best on PKs, Atkinson, with Martian on the both ways. So because when those guys, Michael, play on the PK like that, they are also the offensive side. They create a lot of things on the PK, and Atkinson, that's what he does a lot. The last couple of years.
So I don't know if that's accurate. Like, if you look at this year, they only played 56 games. He had 15 goals in a tumultuous year. So he's still a 20-goal scorer. Last year he had 12 goals in 44 games. It was just the prior year where he had 41. He had 24 goals in 65 games, 35 goals. He's always been a shooter. And I think that's the big difference between him and Voracek, whereas Voracek's like pass first. And I agree, he is good on the PK, but his thing has always been a trigger man. Like, if you have a good centerman that can pass the puck, he's going to finish it. And when Panarin was there, he was the trigger man and Panarin was the setup man. And that's why he had probably such great offensive numbers. But, he's an 89 birth year. So I was kind of surprised. First of all, Philadelphia saves like $2.5 million on this deal. So I think Philadelphia kind of wins that way, and they get a guy that can really shoot the puck. And if he's healthy, then you've got to your point, he can also play PK. Voracek has had some injury problems. He's like $8 million, Pierre. Like, I don't know why Columbus wouldn't move Atkinson and get a young prospect. That would kind of, to me, be a much smarter move.
For me, the only thing I compare that one is because to feed up Laney
with Voracek.
Yep.
And yet neither one's a center. They still don't have a center.
No, I understand that. But my point to you is like the reason why Voracek compared Atkinson,
no, that makes sense.
Voracek bring more the kind of pass, everything like that, compared
He's a very good playmaker.
To Laney about that one over there. Yep. I think that would be the thing for Voracek over there. The 8.25, Michael, the only thing it's square because Voracek have 3 years, I can say have 4 years. So it's a little bit higher on the AAV for Columbus, but at the end, it's the same kind of money after 4 years.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep. Good morning to Caden. Thank you for joining us. Caden, or Canadian Giant. And then our friend Chainsaw Man is here. Oleg, the air conditioning is blasting in this hotel room, so I do have a track jacket on. If I was a GM, I would stay away from Eichel. Nobody knows about his injury status. I agree with you, Adam. I think people are waiting to see, like, what's the injury report.
Well, that's a good thinking about that, right? The GM's going to do it. You have to be sure he is completely, back, everything like that. It's a gamble, right? But the problem that this gamble, Michael, is not like example like Voracek Atkinson. It's 1-1, right? You're losing one player. Now you're losing maybe a 5, 7, 8 years of long term if you're losing 2 prospect, 2 round pick.
True.
So that's for me is a little bit concerned about that one over there.
Bud the Monkey asks, what would a realistic Sam Reinhart and Sam Bennett contract be?
Reinhart, $6 million, $5.5, $6 million. He's still an RFA, right? And then Bennett, you have to go low, $3 million max. He's at
2.3 million max.
I'm saying again.
You think it's only 3 million max?
Oh yeah, you have to get there. And the reason why, because Michael has never been a scorer, 20 goal a lot. Never be consistency on the offensive side. He showed a couple of the highlights, but I think because he's RFA, you can get him a lower contract. So look, prove to us for the next 2 years, and then after that, we'll go give you the money back, right? And they have the problem in Florida. It's not a problem, Michael, but they have $11 million right now to spend, right? They have to get Sam Bennett, Reinhart. They have to get they signed this morning Winston. And on defensive side, they will have to add a defenseman.
Right.
So that money there, they have to figure out that. So if you get $6 million to Bennett or 5.5, he's at 5 already. So with the RFA, he's getting $6 million, about $6 million, right? So $6 million there. You still have $5 million. You get Reinhart at $2.5, $3 million. You don't have a lot of money after that to get a defenseman.
No, it's true. Good morning to Nicola and Greg, and our friend Randy N is here. So good morning. It's crazy how much the 2019 Jackets with Panarin and Bobrovsky have changed. And for sure, I mean, they had Matt Duchene, which I've never been a big Matt Duchene fan, but Panarin is obviously all world. Bobrovsky was great at the time. Probably hid some of his challenges with great team defense.
But I think if you add this, Michael,
and then you lost
Panarin, Bobrovsky, Duchene, Zed Jones, right? But this is not the first time in Columbus. It's just a normal situation in Columbus. And I can bring to you back like Rick Nash, Jeff Carter, and you can go all the way that way. They always have a turn. Why? Because in Columbus, it's not a track city to live. Compared to Huberdeau, Eglin, and Barkov, right? And you can see with Stamkos and Vasilevsky, those guys, not because they want to make more money somewhere else, Michael, because they love the quality live they have here. You know, Huberdeau Renaud and Duclair Renaud play golf this morning.
They what?
Right? One of them are on the boat right now.
Oh, exactly. You're living in Miami versus Ohio. Like,
So the point is, my point to you is that the rotation of the players in Columbus is just normal. You're not going to have a lot of players there stay 10 years, 12 years, 13. It will happen, of course, but
yeah,
not normal because the city, the way they live, the quality of life. And when
it's
you
not.
get 28, 30, Michael, now it's changing. Great example, Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall, 5 years ago, he would not take that decision like with Boston. Now it's about family. It's about quality life. It's about having a chance. So the mindset changing with it's like anybody else. Like, what do you think, Michael Villeneuve, today? 10 years ago, we were not thinking that way. Maybe have more striving. Who knows, right? But that's the way for those players right there. So
Yeah,
for me, that's just a normal situation in Columbus.
it's true. It's not a very metropolitan city. It's kind of like old school. There's the big Ohio State stuff is there, but there's a few great restaurants, but not many. I mean, there's a handful. So it's
And the success that thing, Michael, is you have to be always be a blue collar
you might be
kind
right.
of players. The reason why the blue collar he will work, he will not worry about those quality we talk about. Not said Huberto are not blue collar.
And Aaron wants to go to
No,
Prague.
but the point is like Michael, like those guys, like the prototype of Foligno did well over there because he's the kind of players looking for.
Lunch
So
bucket.
if they can pick those kind of players like that, right? And that would be and just normal that people leave over there. And I'm
I
sure
agree.
Giselle Jones, nothing against this. It's just sometimes it's hard. You try the best, the culture, everything like that. It's not easy.
Yeah, I mean, Chicago has a lot more to offer, from restaurants to music to museums to culture. Like, it's definitely more attractive than, say, a Columbus, which is still kind of a rough.
And just finish on the trade arena, Michael. That maybe right now put Florida maybe the best top 60 team in NHL.
It's going to be interesting to see, because, like, if Sam Bennett performs the way he's capable of and fills that second line role, and Reinhart becomes, I thought Reinhart played pretty well at center, so that's always an option. But
Think about this.
Wing,
think about this.
Very
they are
good.
better and did not lose any asset of their team.
Absolutely. Nothing, Pierre.
So at the end of the day, it's a winner for them. It's just you cannot compare. They are better. Now they can compete with any team in the NHL. Everything like that. The only thing I'm looking for me is a defenseman like Adam Larson or a prototype or Ollie Shack on the right side of the guy behind Aaron Ekblad.
Yep.
That's what I'm looking for. That's what I think they should look about a defenseman like that if they have the money, of course. Otherwise, the Yandel is gone. The Strandman is going to be gone next year.
Yeah.
But they can get that kind of defenseman right there. I think they are going to be great. I can't wait to follow them for sure and see about that. If you're a Panthers fan, you see the lights in front of you.
Yeah, it's
and
true.
We don't talk about Lundell yet.
No, you got some assets there that can come in and still help out. So I think that takes pressure off of Lundell, and you might see a Sam Bennett situation where he's a young player, he doesn't get past the third line. I would not want to see that, but because I think he's capable of being a second line center. But that's a good problem to have. You got Owen Tippett, Lundell. The pressure's not on them; they can just contribute the way they need to. Lundell may play in the AHL. You never know. We have not talked about it, Scott. I'm sick of listening to it.
The only thing I would say to you, is he will definitely try to go. They will try to give him every chance he has about Lundell before they go AHL.
Yeah, I think he's capable of playing the NHL personally. But it's going to come down to, if they have that much of a logjam, I think they might put him down there just for the experience. But he's already played pro. I mean, I don't see him gaining anything from the AHL. He hasn't already gained, he's played 2 years of pro, right? So I don't think that you gain anything. Good morning to Brian and our friend Scott Parker. He says, have we discussed the Mailloux acquisition? I think we've talked about it a lot on other broadcasts. I saw the interview that Logan gave. He has a lot of composure. He's pretty. It's when you listen to him, he's acknowledging everything. Obviously, he's not denying it. It's obviously, for a guy that's 18, he made a stupid choice. I just think that you probably just put a ton of pressure on the situation and yourself by taking him and not passing until next year. And I think that's what it boils down to for me. Like
great comments, Scott Parker, about what he have other stuff at the bottom. But here's the point, Michael. At the end of the day, it's not the kid, it's not the victim, the woman, right? Everything is because the Montreal Canadiens, with a standard they apply for year after year at a high standard around the world, all right, with Class C and try the best of the best. At the end of the day, you have no reason to pick. You have no reason to select this kid because he requests to have no team to select him. That's simple. You have nothing else. You have not. We cannot talk about the subject of what he did or why to keep, to talk about what he did, right, wrong, whatever it is. We're talking about the woman, the victim, everything like that. What we have to make our focus is why the Montreal select a kid when he requests to not be there. And that's what my biggest problem about that one there. But again, I was said to you, have another conversation yesterday on social media where not only Montreal Canadiens, Michael, but I think the NHL should step up, say, you know what? I know they have a rules when you're in, but it's like anything else. You have a rules, always an asterisk you can change. And no reason NHL take a decision Thursday night. So you know what? Because he requests, we'll go to remove him or send a memo to all the team. We ask you, please do not select the kid. That's simple. Nobody will know. Me and you would not know about that, right? Nobody knew.
That's what should have happened.
That's the only thing I would say. Where
it's bad for everybody, Pierre.
I'm angry.
I think it's just bad for you're putting Montreal in the crosshairs of something that they weren't participants in, and now they've involved themselves in. This young guy, he's an idiot. Like, he screwed up, and he's acknowledging that. Go away. Just let him go away.
But again, what he said, once Scott gave him the kid a break, right? The next day, Michael, he has to go face to the reporter for the press conference. Imagine he's only 18 years old. I'm not talking about what he did wrong. I'm just talking what you have to face to music. We have to face the pressure, have to face again and talking again about something like that.
Well, did you see his Logan yesterday talking to reporters?
Who?
Logan Mailloux talking to reporters.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was composed, obviously very stressful situation, and he's not hiding from it. He's in council.
He never hide anymore about that one over there. His comment about to remove was one reason.
Let him go away and deal with his issues. Like, I don't know why you stick your team if you're the Montreal Canadiens in the middle of this, and I don't know why the NHL let it happen. And I think that's where I'll leave it. I think that there should have been, to your point, somebody should have stepped in and made sure this didn't happen. So, all right. So, if we're looking ahead, the final question I'll answer, which is around Marc Bergevin. I think you're saying Marc Bergevin. I said this the other day and people laughed at me, but I think he just needs, honestly, to get a haircut because he looks like he's drawn out. I mean, listen, it's a stressful job, but if Marc Bergevin doesn't have the crazy guy haircut, he looks more dignified. And I think your impression of what he's saying changes. It's strange, but it's true. I mean, I think we're used to seeing.
At the end of the day, the body language. He don't show up right now with no smiling. He don't show up with the way. I feel like he had two ways. He's maybe tired or he loses the passion. It's something like that. It's that simple. I usually show up there. He answered better to the question. He's smiling. Sometimes he will crack a joke between that, right? Yeah. But again, I think the last two conference, Michael, one he was upset that morning because Joel Bouchard decided to leave.
Right.
So he was really upset that situation. Then the second yesterday, whatever it was, the last time, he saw the social media people screaming to the Montreal Canadiens. So you have to assume the responsibility to pick Mayo. But at the end of the day, I think that's something we don't know yet. So we'll see. Could be the contract he don't get yet. I don't know.
I think if he gets a haircut, it helps. And I think the reality is he just went to the Stanley Cup final and lost. That's a stressful situation. You're not, hey, good for us, we came second. That's not what you do. When you lose, I've lost in the final. There was a number of years when I was coaching, I kept losing in the damn final. We kept there, and you'd be like, you sit there. The day after, I had to implement a rule, Pierre, where I wouldn't answer phone calls.
The biggest problem, Michael, is about like you lose like that, right? The next 2 days, everybody's leaving, right? It's like a press conference. The next 2 days, Michael, they have to go to the expansion draft. The next 2 days, they have to go to the NHL draft. The next 2 days, now you have to go to UFA draft. And then after that, when he's done after that, you have like 4 weeks and reset the upcoming season. So you have no break in front of him. So I can understand his situation, but just feel like you have something about that. And I don't know yet exactly.
Yeah, it just is what it is. I don't think it's like anything long term. All right, so looking ahead to the weeks ahead, we have free agency coming up on Wednesday, and there's some big names out there, and maybe we can just kind of talk about. Kucherov was seen in an okay to hit training vest. I don't know. I'm not sure. Let's see here.
Well, I think Michael, right now it's like I just want to mention this, like because it's really people right now talk about the RFA and the buyout. So the buyout situation, they have until the 27th, 5 o'clock Eastern time to buy out the players. And so why? Because you have to get open up for the UFA Wednesday. So what they have right now is like D'Angelo. You can see Virtanen yesterday. They're going to be buy out today. They have the kids from what was Chicago, I believe. I don't know if the kids got buy out. No, San Jose, I mean, they buy someone also. Now you're going to get more buyout. I will not be surprised. And I just want to mention a couple of names about that one that could happen the next 24 hours, Michael. Some buyout could be happen. Let me check this for you.
I would anticipate that James Neal, you would think.
So you have Koskinen in Edmonton.
Yeah, Koskinen and
James Neal in Edmonton.
Interesting.
You have Louis Eriksson in Arizona.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, possible that Tampa Bay they don't, and because they stuck with him and nobody picked him, maybe Tyler Johnson. But they don't want to do it because he still have like 5 more years.
Yeah, I think that would be a mistake. They have to try to move him.
Yeah,
I know they tried last year, but I don't know if it'd be curious to know, hey, have I offered anybody a prospect to take this guy?
And the goaltender Brandon Oldby.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think Braden Holtby might be bought out. I don't think he lived up to the expectations Vancouver had for him. It's interesting. Kenny Holland said he was only anticipating one buyout. And I'm surprised at that because I think James Neal needs to be bought out. And if they're not talking Neal and Koskinen, that's a little bit strange. Tarasenko is not a free agent, no.
Martin Jones?
You would think. Did they pick up a goalie? I can't remember.
Yes, they pick up Adin Hill for the Arizona.
Oh, Aiden Hill, that's right. They gave up a second pick.
The only problem there is another 5-year contract, 6-year contract. And the first 3 years will be hard for them at 3.8.
Martin Jones really didn't pan out.
So, and then finally, the one over there will be surprised. And I don't know. He came in the league, Michael, very young. He did well with, Pittsburgh and then with Chicago. But Oli Mata is the Kings now. And they expect maybe to be bought out. This is maybe a long shot, but
I don't know why they would buy him out. He's acceptable. Maybe he's paid $1 million too much, but it's not the end of the world.
The reason why I would not do this, Michael, because yes, you're right. We only 1 more year to go.
Yeah, it's not.
Well, 2 more years, but the 2023 is not going to be bad. So on.
Yeah. Frank Saravelli is reporting that Alec Martinez is re-signed with Vegas for $5 million a year on a 3-year deal.
Is it done deal?
I don't know. I mean, I don't see it posted yet, but that doesn't mean
I'm going there.
It's not announced for sure. I don't know that honestly, Pierre. That feels high for him.
Yeah. So what happening 9 minutes ago? Frank Zaravelli airing, and that's what now confirmed, guys. Is going to open up a goaltender.
So they'll move a goalie as a result.
I
of
think
it.
so too. That's a little bit surprised, a little bit money. 3
I think
years
so.
is responsible. It's great. He's 37 at the end, but 5 years he was about 4.3, I believe, last season. So.
Good morning, Joseph. Thank you for joining us as well. So I think this is one of the guys we'll talk about. All right, so quickly, unfortunately, I do have a hard stop at the top of the hour. Alex Ovechkin, not going to leave Washington. What do you think?
Not at all.
Do you think that he'll get full cap? Will he get another 9.5?
It will be a close between around $9 million. He's going to get maybe a 2-3 years.
Makes sense.
If you add years, you drop money.
That makes sense. I mean, he still performs at a very high level. All right, I think this guy is probably still the most sought after commodity, which is Doug Hamilton. I keep hearing he might stay in Carolina.
I don't think so.
No.
The reason why, because they have to sign Snevdikov. They have a full gel. They have a lot of RFA to set up. And I think at that moment, when they open up the door to negotiate somewhere else, I think they're looking more. So I think they have to set up the goaltender situation also. So you have a lot of contract to get there. Now, I could be wrong completely, but I don't think so. Hamilton, the demanding of Doug Hamilton is high. And I think for him, he would get a little bit more money, maybe a 8-8. He's looking at a contract like Pietrangelo. So it will be really interesting where he can go. But look about defensemen and everything like that. Long shot, Winnipeg Jet, I'm not sure they can afford. But I think Winnipeg Jet, they get this guy. Remember when we talked last year, a year ago, Michael, here, we have nobody listen to us. Just kidding.
Pretty much.
We're talking about the same situation with Pietrangelo with Winnipeg Jets. Right? And I think now is the same situation with him.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think Alex is definitely a better defenseman than Doug.
No, but I'm talking about the what Winnipeg need to get the next level.
Totally get that. They haven't.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm not comparing the players. I'm comparing about the team, the need of the team of.
For me, I'm like, am I ghosting? I seem to be ghosting. For me, it's like, if this guy gets as much or more than Alex Pietrangelo, that's kind of weird.
I don't think so. They will get more, but it was going to be lower. But I think, I think for me, around like what McCall got, a little bit less of him, I think it would be get something like that. So I think I bet 8 million, 8.4 to be good. Right? Just answer to about the monkey. 9. Just want to get served by the monkey. Vegas right now at $5.2 million. Michael, open up on the salary cap. They have to sign Martinez right there. He got $5 million. That shut down the team at $200,000, and they have to sign at least 1 or 2 forward like Jen Mark. That's what is very important for them. So, and that's gave them also, Michael, only 6 defensemen at that money. Wow. So they have to open up money for goaltender. This confirm exactly what Adam said earlier. They have to go move out with a goaltender.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, so Gabriel Landeskog still in the wind. I think he wants to stay in Colorado, but definitely not a given.
He's going to have another conversation this morning at the next 24 hours. That will be the final before he goes to UFA. The chance right now is 50-50. And the reason why they have to focus now after McCart on the Grober. And I think the pressure, the fans, the pressure, everybody put a little bit Joe Sakic against the wall. But again, let's the guy have to sign a contract lower where he can get somewhere else. You go for the money or you go to stay around the team and you get about $6.57 million.
Yeah, I think that would be reasonable. I guess we'll see if he stays for that. Zach Hyman, it sure sounds like Edmonton.
confirmed with Edmonton Oilers. You have two things right now. The problem is like if you sign a UFA, you have to go with 7 years. And his contract right now on the table is a $5.5 million for 8 years. So
Wow.
if you check about that, it's about
To trade him.
$44 million, right? Now, because if you get with Toronto a trade and you get the rights before you go UFA, now you can give him $8 million.
Oh my God.
So it's a question. No, I'm sorry, 8 years contract. So it's just it's just a matter of the money at the end of the contract. The problem, if you go 7 years, that increasing is AAV per year.
Oh my God, yeah.
And that's why Edmonton don't want to do that. And then
that's
Hyman want to get the same kind of money. So
that's crazy.
Dubas will now play hardball with Edmonton to get that year. And if something like that, so the agreement. But this is confirmed. He's going to Edmonton. It's just now about that one.
Yeah. I mean, I would be in no hurry to sign this guy. Even 7 years sounds very long for Zach Hyman. I mean, this is a guy that the way he plays, his body eventually is going to break down. And he's in the later years, so I don't know. He's 29 here.
At 5.5, right, for 7 years.
Yeah. Not the end of the world.
I think it's not too bad.
Yeah, it makes sense. But they're talking $6 million in 8 years. That would be crazy to me. I don't know. That's just
the reason he got the So it's 5.5 for 8 years. It could be $6 million now for 7 years.
So we talked about Philip Grubauer. I would anticipate that he would re-sign with Colorado.
He would re-sign with Colorado. It's just a question of time right now. That's it. I would be not surprised he don't hit the UFA. The problem here is that 31 years old, he have a really good year only, and they have to prove more. So it's just to see out he can get a 5 years, a 5.5, $6 million max.
Tyson Barrie, do we have any inside dope on
the situation with Tyson Barrie, guys, is about right now try to resign a 4 years contract, about $5 million with Edmonton Oilers. And again, that's what we are. I think Ken Allen focusing more on the Hyman at that moment, but Tyson Barrie, I don't be surprised if he resigned with Edmonton Oilers. After the fact, they lost Adam Larson.
Man, that's such a... Ugh. I would have kept Larson. And anyways, this one's interesting. We don't talk about David Krejci. He's coming off a $7.2 million contract. He's definitely not... I don't know. It's weird. He had 44 points, but he didn't score very many goals. So he's definitely... a useful
don't
player.
go nowhere. Resign with Boston Bruins. I will be honest with you.
But one number, I guess. But he would
1
be
year, right? $3 million, 3.5 max. But I don't see max at that $3 million. $2.5 million 2 years. But that's pretty much it. I don't see him nowhere.
Philip Danault. Does Danault go to Vegas, or is there anywhere else?
So they have friend wars with there. I don't see him to go Vegas. It will not helping what they need. Right? They need an offensive player center with good on power play, everything like that. Now, the rumor about Philip Danault is about plug with Florida, where I don't feel it. I don't see that.
I don't see
very well with Los Angeles Kings, Michael.
Stop.
So the rumor recently is really the Philadelphia Kings. Really, yeah. Now, can he go there? I'm pretty sure you have 5-16. Can he go to? I thought he would go to Pittsburgh, Michael, if Zucker was not, if Zucker would be out. So that would be so. That would be, but maybe this. Can he go with Flowers? That will be another long shot over there too.
I don't know what's going on in Philadelphia. Have we heard anything on Kaprizov? I don't know if there's any optimism there.
Nothing else. It's really statical about Kaprizov right now. Nothing else.
Call Palmieri. I imagine he'll have options. I don't know if he's going to get a lot of money, but I think he'll sign somewhere. I mean, I could see him staying for less in New York, but maybe they've moved on too.
Maybe not. I'll be honest with you. I think he returned with Devils about $3 million for 4 years, 5 years. Yep.
Tuukka Rask. I'm assuming he's going to re-sign in Boston.
Resign with Toronto. With Boston, we see him in February.
All right, this one's a big one for me, Pierre. I probably got to go walk the dog, unfortunately. Ryan Suter. I'm sure there's going to be lots of people ringing this guy's phone.
He came now at 4 teams: Florida, Islanders, Boston, and I missed one. Dallas.
Oh, Dallas. Interesting.
Yeah. So it's a 4 over there. The reason with Dallas, it makes sense to me. They lost Olecheck. So I think it could be there. Now, what happening with Sutter? I would not expect only a 1 year. I think he could sign 3 years somewhere. But those I don't see him in Florida. I see him between 3 teams right now: Dallas, Islanders, and Boston.
Dallas, Islanders, Boston. Yeah, those all make sense to me.
But the monkey depends on at least 2 defensive forward. Maybe still think he can help come some defense with 2 Whippler and Reinhardt and Barkov. I don't see that over there. I think they are good with Barkov over there. I think the structure, the middle line is getting better, and the winger is better for me. So I don't think so. They will be really focused. Zito right now is a defenseman, and deep depth on the defense on the bottom 6. Maybe a physicality. Now, if I was Florida, Michael, you don't focus on Dano. Which one you believe they should focus?
Of what? The free unrestricted?
On UFA right now, on the bottom 6. 2 players they should at least one focus.
Wait, sorry, on which team? Florida?
Yes.
I mean, I could see guys like Blake Coleman or Paul Mary being interesting to them if it's at the right number.
Zizikas. The type the player they need right now is the type of Zizikas at the bottom.
Yeah, that makes
a
lot of
what
sense.
Ashera does, but I think you get better with Zizikas over there.
Do you think
Now,
he leaves New York?
worst case, maybe Nick Bonino, but that would be the worst case.
Yeah.
This also, I will tell you why. Because if ever they struggle with Lundell, Michael, they can bring that kind of players at the bottom 6 and make this better.
I think that's a good fit. I'd be very surprised if he leaves the Islanders, but I mean, that would make a lot of sense. Let's take a quick look. So Martinez, we think is going to re-sign. I think if it's $5 million for me, that's like a little high, but
yes. The good news is not a long term.
Yeah. The other one that's interesting, Zach Parise and Brandon Saad. Where do you think they'll end up?
Islanders for Parise. I really stuck with this one forever. I don't know why, but that's why I built.
Yeah.
I confirm Sam Bennett. Confirmed, sign a contract 4 years at $4.4 million.
Wow.
Confirmed right now.
So Pierre, that was honestly, I thought it was going to be 4x4, but 4.4.
So it's like, it's a little bit high, to be honest with you.
That's high.
But
It
it's confirmed
really cheap,
at Pierre LeBrun right now. The Florida Panthers, they give a lot of money today, but
that's a lot of cash for. I honestly, Pierre, I kind of thought it was going to be 4x4. Just because of the way he performed at the end. Good morning, a frostbitten Canadian boy. But 4.4 really puts it over the top. I'm kind of surprised, to be honest with you.
yes.
I thought it would be like 3.8 to 4, but oh well, it is what it is. And
At the
nobody,
end of the day, Michael, right, is about $18 million. So a little bit high. I think 60 million would be the best. But it's confirmed, guys. Sam Bennett.
Interesting.
So
well, congratulations. So does this mean Alexander Wenberg is out?
Who?
Wenberg. I'm assuming Alexander Wenberg's not going back to Florida.
Oh, I know. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. I'm sorry about that. I was trying to check something else. Yeah.
Reinhardt, I would think it'd be 6.5.
Expect $6 million.
Yeah, I might be high now. It might be at 6.5.
Michael, I would not be surprised he can get like 5 for 6.
He might be more.
As I mentioned, because the list there, Nicholas Adjamelson retire.
Oh, he did. Oh,
Yeah.
Nicholas Hjalmarsson.
So
Really
he
good
would never mention, he would never, like what we hear, Michael, he would not announce it.
Oh, really? Just going to go into the woodwork?
Yeah. And if you look about this, Michael, I consider him maybe the best defensive the last 10 years in NHL.
I mean, he's definitely a useful number 4 guy. He's
It
probably one
was
of the best
amazing. If you get look his analytics stats,
excellent.
Just it's sad because he never been with a great team like over the effect like Chicago, right?
Well, he won 3 cups, didn't he?
Yeah, but I don't think so. He was there at 3.
Really? I think he was.
He was okay. I thought it was 2, but it could be 3 there. But you know, like he disappeared on the map after that, and that's my point. If he was still with another big team, I think the people will recognize more is what you talk about friend role you play in the team, Michael, and it's not mentioned a lot. That's what that kind of player he was.
3 cups.
Okay.
10, 13, and 15. He was there for all of them, and he won an Olympic medal with Sweden. All right, Pierre, we're going to wrap up.
I just want to mention about Florida here. The Florida Panthers right now are with $7 million under pocket, Michael.
Do you think they'll do anything with Strowman?
Strowman is 1 year there now. If they buy out him, he have only 1 year to go. So I would give him them. He's what, 35?
Oh, at least, yeah.
Yeah. You have one year to go. I tried to get him for you guys.
You know, it's funny when you look at this list, there's a lot of other guys that could be really useful players that haven't signed anywhere. So it's going to be interesting to see where these guys end up. Like everyone from, you know, you got to think Thomas Tatar gets a contract somewhere.
I wouldn't be surprised, Michael, because if you save him, they save $2.5 million, almost $3 million, Michael.
If you buy out Strowman?
Yeah, but he still have 2 years on the. I thought it was only 1 year, but you have 2 years. 2.5 next year and 1.5 after that.
Cool. All right, Pierre, I have to wrap up. I appreciate everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. We'll talk to everybody tomorrow morning.
I'll be there tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern time.
Oops, so much for that.